Welcome once again, DJ Hoisey Noisy, right, right here, with some of the finest selection from the One Piece collection. I don't know. It's One Piece time again, and this time we're in recording mode because, yeah, I don't think. I mean, this is gonna be pretty. This is not gonna be like the 10 minutes that the past recording was about. I can't speak right now, but yeah. That's actually. I mean, if I remember correctly, the last time. The stream that I did before wasn't actually able to cover, the story aspect of it. The whole reason why we're playing the game in the first place is to relive the story and tell you guys. And I tell you guys what I know about the story because, like, I don't know if anybody knows this. Anybody that's like actually seen the streams that I've been doing. These are not researched, by the way. I barely look anything up. Like, honestly. You know what my research was? I watched the thing. I really did. I just watched the thing. And it got my full undivided attention. That's what my research was. But I guess you could call me watching the anime twice research. I don't know. But that's what I did, man. So without further ado, let's actually try and discuss. Like, the whole point of this recording is for me to tell you guys what the summit was, what the battle at Marineford was, and its importance to the series generally. I think some of the aspects that I'm gonna talk about I already talked about before, but we should streamline these things, right? Because I think it's important. I mean I think it's important. Oh crap! Look at that. I think the movie playback is still pretty. Yep. I'll have that on. By the way, if anybody's wondering why we're in 720p, that's because most of the things in the game are in 720p, especially the pre-rendered cutscenes. They're definitely in 720p. Like, most of the stuff you're gonna see in the Marineford, in the Battle at Marineford stuff, like the cutscenes from this part of the game, I think were lifted directly from the very first Pirate Warriors game that they did, and that's like in 720p. So like they're just reusing old assets in the game and the series. I mean, can't blame them. Some of them are pretty good. Anyway, here we go. So I think we've seen this. I mean, we've seen this before. And I've already mentioned what's happening here. And how they're able to actually do this thing. What the logic of it is within the series, I mean. That they actually coated the boat with the sap that you get from Sabaody Archipelago. Those bubbles that go way up, right? Those things. What makes those bubbles is what was used in those ships so that they can go under water, submerge essentially. And again, that doesn't make all that much sense, but it's only gonna get stupider, man. That's my promise to everyone. There you go, there's our guy Whitebeard. Where's the can we get much higher guy?
ちょっと待ってな、エース。親父！
Look at this. Dude, the cutscenes feel a lot smoother. I think this is how the game was supposed to be played, I think, guys. Don't blindly think the one with the greater force is guaranteed to win. Will likely be the ones to die. That man. Yep. Never mind, you know what? There it is. Frame drops right there. Or not frame. Oh yeah, it is frame drops. Thing got slower. That's what I'm trying to say. So that was Whitebeard, and he was one of the four emperors. Yeah, I mean, you actually see him die, though, right? Actually, you know what? You didn't know that. Well, spoiler. He went away. There you go. I think it's well known. Even people who don't know, who aren't familiar with One Piece, like their faint idea of what One Piece is that guy who's screaming, "The One Piece exists." You know, that's Whitebeard, by the way. Okay. The second one. Okay. I don't remember why they were actually being launched. They were like falling down to Marineford. I don't remember why. Yeah, I don't remember. Because like they got across the gate, right? They did that. Just don't remember why they were falling. Anyway.
なぜお前が白ひげをかばう?
やっぱりこのおっさんが白ひげか。じゃあ手出すな。エースはこのおっさんを気に入ってんだ。
小僧、その麦わら帽子、赤髪が昔かぶってたやつによく似てるな。
おっさん、シャンクス知ってんのか？これ預かってんだ、シャンクスから。
兄貴を助けに来たのか？
そうだ。
相手が誰だか分かってんだろうな。おめえごときじゃ命はねえぞ。
うるせえ！おめえがそんなこと決めんな。俺は知ってんだぞ。
Listen to the old guy, dude.
お前海賊王になりてんだろ。海賊王になるのは俺だ。
くそ生意気な。足引っ張りやがったら承知しねえぞ、放ったれ。
俺は俺のやりてえようにやる。エースは俺が助ける。
Here we go. So I don't think I need to explain anything that happened there. It's just that apparently Whitebeard and Crocodile had some sort of past right there. And that was, I think, I mean, to my knowledge, that's never been explained before. Right, maybe that's the reason why Crocodile has that scar across his face. We don't know. We have yet to know. Like, really, the involvement of Crocodile here in this entire saga, from like from Impel Down up to Marineford, has been kind of a mystery. Like, I think the reason why he's like a part of the group, apart from the fact that he's pretty powerful, is the fact that a lot of people like him. A lot of people regard Crocodile as very cool, you know. And it's not, I mean, I get it, but it's just, it's pretty, I mean, nonsensical why he's here. They're gonna try to like explain it. But I think it's gonna be all that well. Okay. Okay, this one I'm gonna be able to put some context. There you go.
今はもう人として生まれた記憶すらない化け物パシフィスタ BX0 だ
That's a shame.
改造兵器一体何のことっちゃべる記憶が消えたかなんだか知らないけど一度会った人間に顔を忘れられたのは生まれて初めての経験だよ、
BX0 ここはもう十分だ撤退して他に当たれ
逃げる気今度バタ足に手あげることがあったらもっと叩きのめしてやっちゃべる覚悟せいやん
Okay, so what this is about is it's because Ivankov and Kuma, right there, Bartholomew Kuma, they're both members of the Revolutionary Army. Ivankov is also, I think it's been revealed in Impel Down that he's familiar with Dragon, right? And I think Ivankov also knows that Luffy is Dragon's son. Dragon, by the way, is the leader of the Revolutionary Army. Again, a group that we haven't really gotten a whole lot about, at least to my knowledge. Again, I'm not all that up to speed, not all that updated with what's currently in the story. Apparently there's been a lot of things that has been discussed, but I have no idea. For one thing, you know, we have a bit more of a backstory concerning Kuma and how he got into that situation, how he became like an experiment by Vegapunk. What happened there? So here we go. Let's just barrel through it, guys.
Hancock, てめえも七部会をやめる気か
黙れいかにえ何も耳に入らぬそなたよくもわらわの愛しき人の邪魔をしたな生かしてはおかぬこんなに怒りを覚えたことはないそなたを切り刻んで獣の餌にしてやる
クジャの覇気か
ハンゴック
はい
大軍の邪魔をしててめえが後でどうなるか分かってんのか
何をしようともわらわは許される道を開けよ
Excuse me. Alright. So this touches up on the part of this saga that wasn't actually covered, which is what happened in Amazon Lily, where Boa Hancock is from. It's actually the leader of that entire community, space of that island, you know. So I guess we're not gonna touch on that as well if they're not gonna touch on it. But the main thing, the main takeaway is that because of what happened to Amazon Lily, because what happened in Amazon Lily. By the way, I guess the one thing that you should know is that, and I think I've said this before, that when like Luffy was popped away by Kuma, that's where he ended up in Amazon Lily. That's where he knows. Like, and this was something. This was said in the story, in the recap in the game. That's where he ended up. But what wasn't covered was the main takeaway is that because of what happened in Amazon Lily, Boa Hancock has now fallen in love with Luffy. And of course Luffy is a guy about it. Like, he has no idea what he's done to Boa Hancock. It's just, you know, completely oblivious to Boa Hancock's feelings for him. There you are. Hijinks ensue.
鷹の目。止めた。世界一の斬撃を。3番隊隊長ダイヤモンド・ジョゼ。
ダイヤモンド・ジョゼ。
いきなりキングは取れねえだろうよい。
あれは1番隊隊長不死鳥マルコ。隊長たちも出てきたぞ。止めろ。
Nice. So, not a whole lot is known about those guys. It's just what you saw in that is it's what we all know, or at least what I know. Somebody who's like watched the thing at this, watched the whole thing at a certain point, right? Diamond Josie is very much a commander of the Whitebeard Pirates as much as Marco. I mean, Marco has actually been brought back. We saw Marco again in a future arc. Yeah, in a future arc, in a later arc. I mean, I should say. But beyond that, we don't actually know a whole lot about them, like what their backstory is. What they do is another thing. They have something I mean, Marco has something cooking up apparently, but you know. And then we also have, there's also Hawkeye's Mihawk there. Again, no idea what his backstory is. It's just 3 people that are cool, you know, that are featured there. Okay. So this is something actually this is actually something that I touched upon on the thing, on the stream that I did about this. Yeah. So the guy that did this pirate captain here, has a name. It's not just some regular pirate captain. Yeah. And the one that like tricked this particular pirate captain, I can't even remember the guy's name. Probably should look it up. I mean, wouldn't be the hardest thing to do right now, honestly. Let's do that. Come on. It's not gonna be the hardest thing in the world for me to know about this. It's the name's Squard. His name is Squard. There you go. And the one that did the convincing to Squard that apparently Whitebeard has sold his crewmates out, his family out, was Akainu. He was the one that got into Squard's head. This guy. This is supposed to be Squard. Yeah, so the entire time, like, Akainu is like if you've seen Akainu, like, he doesn't seem like the most trustworthy guy. Like, I would imagine if a guy like Kobe would do something like that, then that might be more convincing. Because you just don't know. Like, he seems trustworthy. Kobe seems like trustworthy. And he is trustworthy. Akainu is just like, out of all the three like admirals that are present during this war, I would give like Aokiji like the most trusting guy. Like, both Akainu and Kizaru seem like slimy people. And yet, you know, Akaino's like the guy that like convinces this guy to stab Whitebeard. Though he's pretty stupid as well.
お前にとってエースは特別なんだ。だから俺たちの首と引き換えにエースの命を買ったんだろ。
おめえ仮にも親に刃物を突き立てるとはとんでもねえバカ息子だ。バカな息子をそれでも愛そう。
Dude, Whitebeard looks so
お
cool.
前は俺たちの命が。
エースだけが特別じゃねえ。仲良くやんな。みんな俺の家族だぜ。
If it weren't for his size, he looked like he's someone from another.
海賊なら信じる者はてめえで決めろ。俺と共に来る者は命を捨ててついてこい。
俺はなんてこと。海軍に騙されてすまねえおやっさん。すまねえエース。
泣くことが報いることがよい。エースを助けるんだ。何としても。
Yeah, what I was about to say, like Whitebeard looks like somebody who doesn't even belong in like the art style that you're so accustomed to in like One Piece characters. Like all three of the admirals look like pretty different, pretty distinct on like the usual art style that we would see in characters. But then again, you know, once we go to the New World stuff, to the Four Emperors saga, you really see Ichiro to like go to the deep end when it comes to I guess redefining his art style, I should say, because it's characters there that look really out there. Okay.
あそこにいるのは海賊王ゴールドロジャーの船の伝説のクルーであり、四皇赤髪の兄弟分、大海賊道家のバギー船長では。
確かにそれは俺だが、俺が伝説の海賊だってのは内緒のはずだが。
Okay, the backstory on this, we're not gonna wait for this to end, is that Buggy and red-haired Shanks know of each other. I think this was something that was touched upon when we were in Orange Town. Was that they're familiar with each other. They rode on the same ship. They rode on the on Oro Jackson, which was the ship of the Pirate King Gold Roger. That's where they meet. That's where they met, and that's when Buggy actually ate his chop fruit, because devil fruits are a hot commodity in this world, as you would imagine. So, and Buggy likes treasure as much as Nami. Honestly, they're on that, bro. So, obviously, he sees the chop fruit. It's like, oh, this is hot commodity. I can make a lot of money out of this. But I think one thing led to another, and he basically swallowed the chop fruit. And he blames, because he has no intention of being a devil fruit user, Buggy. But circumstances as they happened, he became a devil fruit user, and he blames it all because of Shanks, right? Because he doesn't want to lose his ability to swim, which is what happens when you eat like a devil fruit. So yeah, like he's like clinging into that fact that, oh, this guy that I used to be on the ship with is now a emperor, so that gives me status that I am also worthy of that title, or at least somewhere adjacent to that.
ゴムゴムのジェット身代わり。
何しとんじゃこら麦わら。
なんだよ、切ったのあいつだぞ。
鷹の目のミホークに切られても平然と立ってる。すげえぜ、我らがキャプテンバギー。
いやー七部会なんか目じゃねえぜ。行くぞやろうだもん。
I guess again, I mentioned back then that it was kind of weird that, excuse me, it was kind of weird that Mihawk, for how powerful it is not a hockey user. Because if he was, yeah, Bucky would have been still would have been cut. You know, hockey has been this like great equalizer of every power. Because like if you have like a mythical Zoan fruit like a Phoenix that Marco has, if he doesn't have hockey, he could still be defeated by a guy who has hockey, you know. So that's been like the role of this introduction of hockey in the world, is that it gives way to the power scaling and all of the fights that happened in the Four Emperors saga. Despite that, it was still not, I guess it was still not enough, right? They had to like create a bunch, not a bunch, but 2 more things to like put somebody like Luffy like a bit on the top, right? We're gonna discuss that. I guess we can discuss that when we get to it, when I actually play Pirate Warriors 4. Anyway, here's the next video. This looks up to scale in 720p, honestly.
始めろ若いる。流星火山。
So you've seen them, oh yeah, actually, I didn't actually talk about this part, huh? This part right here. What happened here was that you saw like Whitebeard do his tremor like move, right? With the two hands. Well, apparently those were so powerful and they triggered a tsunami coming into the Marineford. Like 2 huge waves, like the size of like a mountain. Not even a skyscraper, like a mountain. Which is crazy. It's quite the image. So what Aokiji does is that he jumps way as high as possible, like as much as he can, like, and he does extend both of his arms and like ice what do you call it? Ice beams? Wouldn't call them ice beams, but basically ice comes out of his hands to touch those waves and freezes them, which is what this move is. So he's pretty powerful as well. Actually, you didn't see it before, but Ice Age, yeah, when he does that, he is very powerful. Like when he does Ice Age, he can actually freeze a good portion of the sea. Like if you're on an island, you would see on the horizon that water would be frozen by this guy. So he's pretty powerful, Aokiji. Anyway, back to the current clip that we have. So what was happening here was that you see all these like small portions of gates rise up. Let's replay the thing right here. So this is after Sengoku's command that, okay guys, initiate plan blah blah blah. And you see them having cannons on the top as well. Because the idea was to basically trapped the Whitebeard pirates inside of it, along with the the escapees from Impel Dan and Luffy. So, and the other thing too was that because the Whitebeard pirates are engaging in the battle between the Marines to save Ace, like all of the Whitebeard pirates are inside Marineford, but they also have, I don't know, they cashed in all of their favors from other pirates around the world, like a lot of people. So those guys didn't have the luxury of like popping up underwater, right? All of them were just coming from the sea that is surrounding Marineford, right? So the gates were also a way to keep those guys out. But unfortunately, there was like a part of the rising gates that weren't able to rise up because there was a giant that was part of the invasion that was in Whitebeard's side, that was part of the attack, but unfortunately died. So his like limp body, or I guess dead body, is just lying on top of one of those gates and was not able to rise up. So from there, the what do you call this, reinforcements, the other pirates that Whitebeard basically asked favors of, they came from that part. So there you are. See? More context, more unnecessary context. But anyway, flavored text, I don't know what you'd call this.
塩に弱いんじゃったの。お前さんのゾンビ兵は。ジンベエ、てめえさえいなければ。
By the way, if anybody forgot, Gecko Moria, the main bad guy in Thriller Bark, that's his ship, by the way. Thriller Bark was his ship, and that wasn't like, Thriller Bark is not an island, it is a ship, but the ship is so huge and like I guess so flat, and like there's like land, there's actual land on top of that ship, but that's his ship and it moves around Thriller Bark looking for wayward pirates that would find themselves inside the Florian Triangle. That's what this guy does. And like, they would prey on, he would like prey on them. Like if they're powerful, he would take his like their shadow, and they're stuck there essentially unless they get killed. So that's what he does. He's also part of the Warlords of the Sea, right? That's what he's doing here.
お前さんに邪魔はさせん。道は譲ってもらうぞ。
モリアンがやられた。まさかジンベエが敵に回るとは。豪華支部会は重要な勢力。
Oh yeah, both of them were actually. Yeah. Oh yeah, both of them were part of the Seven Warlords of the Sea. Jinbei's case, though, which is why he's on the other side, is that he revoked his being Warlord of the Sea because of what happened to Ace, right? He's the one who was opposed to it, and he was removed from his place. And I think the guy that replaced him was Whitebeard. Yeah, that's the spot that was open for Whitebeard, his spot. So there you go. There you go. Dude, he's so cool. Like, the one thing he said to Luffy was like, give me a good place to die. That's so macho. Oh, here we go. Pre-rendered cutscene.
何がおかしいかってこの時代の真ん中にいる感じさ
しまったお前ら俺から離れろ
Damn. We're gonna get to Doflamingo when we get to Doflamingo.
そんなものはいくらでも塗り替えられてきた
And we are gonna get to
平和を
Doflamingo.
知らねえガキどもと戦争を知らねえガキどもの価値観は違う、頂点に立つ者が善悪を塗り替える今この場所こそ中立だ正義は勝つってそりゃそうだろう勝者だけが正義だ
And we're only gonna discuss the parts that they revealed in that story. Because Dressrosa is there's a lot that happened in the Dressrosa. I said this to somebody else in another stream that, you know, I mean, a lot of like I said, like I counterpoint to what they were talking about in the more recent stuff. They said a lot of things happened since Wano, and I was like, well, a lot of things also happened in Dressrosa. I don't really think about that. I don't really think about them all that much. So you know my opinion on what Dressrosa is. No sneaky sneak right there. No sneaky poo. Sneak peek. Okay. So the reason why they had to do that is because I think. Oh yeah, not another thing. I know that also had like a wall that was getting in the way of where the execution platform is, where Ace is. So they had to do that, and also Ivankov also had to go there because he has to help out. They had to help out Luffy to get to Ace.
あらら、とうとうここまで。お前にはまだこのステージは早すぎるよ。
エースは返してもらうぞ
There you go. Okay, so here's the one that I said. I mentioned something during this part, and I guess I should just say it again, because we're like, you know, we're epiloguing what we feel about Marineford, right? Arara. There you go. Look at that explosion, bro.
力がねえのなら救えねえもんは頑張ったって救えねえよ。
Kinda true.
それ見たことか。だから言わんこふっちゃなしてべる。息はあんの？麦わらボーイ。
岩ちゃん。離せ、おっさん。俺は。
こいつはもう十分やった。手当てを。はい。
いらねえ。そんな時間ねえよ。邪魔すんな。エースは俺の世界でたった一人の兄弟なんだぞ。必ず俺が助け。
There you go. He passed out there.
小沢だけの威勢の塊。若く無様。そういうバカ好きだぜ。
Again, like, for me, this is like his second instance that, oh, he could have died here, because he's like passing out, he's barely awake at this point, and he has to like consult Ivankov that, hey, do that thing that recovered me when I was supposed to die of poison ingestion. Not even like poison being touched by his skin and stuff like that. He basically swam in poison when he went impelled down. And again, he was supposed to die, but Ivankov had to, like, you know, was able to give him, I guess, apparently it's medicine. It's medicine that doesn't have the highest chances of him living, but it does give him a chance to live. But the trade-off of that is, like, I think 30 years of his life has been depleted. But the recovery that's required for him to come back to life. So, you know, consequences. But yeah, I guess we should just move forward, right? Because I've said what I said about Marineford, the saga, and also the actual arc of Marineford, which is this one and the other, which is this one and this one, right? Yeah, I probably should have front-loaded this, huh? Said what I had to say about this thing, because, like, we're in, like, almost an hour just talking about just looking back at this thing. Oh yeah, here we go. Yeah, you know what? Yeah, okay. Here we go. Here's where it is.
くそ、俺は歪んでる。こんな時に親父が、弟は、仲間たちが血を流して倒れていくのに、俺は嬉しくて涙が止まらねえ。今になって命が惜しい。
くそったれ。夜としなみは越えられんか。白ひげ。
Boom. And he got in there, bro. That fist is inside his body, bro. Which is crazy. Like, this game is a bit generous on their depiction of Whitebeard, in that he doesn't have a whole lot of scars on him, like new scars, not like the ones that he already has. But yeah, homeboy went through it. Like, there's a lot. He's got a lot of scars, bro. Like, there's like that punch from Akainu right there, like, left a huge hole in his body essentially, and it's like he's not bleeding. Like, his body's like not bleeding out from that hole. But yeah, I guess I should also explain the backstory that we got from Ace. By the way, up to this point, we still have no idea of Ace's backstory. It only happens right around here, where, you know, he dies. So that's kind of like, that like really trips me up on why that was the choice in telling his story. So I guess, you know, people come here to know about his story, and, you know, I was very critical about I had a lot of words to say about his story. One of them being it's bad, they fumbled it, right? So one of the things that they did was that so the story with Ace is that throughout his life he hated the fact that he was a descendant of Gold Roger, I'm still not clear on why that is. Yeah, I'm still not clear on why that is. Like, honestly, they gave them they gave a reason on why that is. Like, apparently, all he ever hears about his father, his actual father, is that he was weak, which is a weird thing to say, but he was a bad pirate. Like, it wasn't that he was a bad person because he's a pirate. No, he was like a bad pirate, which that I don't understand. Like, that I think that part I'm just making up. But essentially, Ace was not very keen on that fact that he has the bloodline of Gold Roger right there. So that's why his whole theme of his whole story is about having family, of having found family. You know, if you're familiar with that concept. Like, he treats, like, again, if you saw how Ace was introduced has been introduced in the game, and what his relationship with Whitebeard is apparently their relationship is a lot stronger than father and son, because for Ace, Whitebeard is his foster father, you know, which kind of explains why he like went off. I mean, kind of explains the actions that he did later on in the story. But I still think it's pretty stupid, right? So again, if you're wondering, if you're thinking that, hey, maybe I think I've seen this before, not even somewhere, just in the same series as well. Well, you and I would have the same idea, because when I watched this, I think even the first time I watched this, in my head I was thinking, this sounds an awful lot like Robin's backstory. The fact that he was, well, in this case, he's like about to be executed. He's like held hostage, right? Robin's thing was like she was on her way to be executed, essentially. But it's a little different. But you know, he's basically being taken away into a position where if it comes to a certain point, we were never gonna see Ace or Robin anymore. And I don't know, was that really the only thing? Like, again, this is one of the reasons why I don't like Ace's story, because it felt rushed, bro. For any other character, if the person who was dying on this execution platform didn't look like Ace, didn't sound like Ace, wasn't cool like Ace, I wouldn't mind, honestly. But the moment I saw him in Alabasta, I was like, oh, that guy's an MC. That guy could carry his own story. That guy should have his own story. And yet, like, I'm not saying that the majority of what happened after Alabasta wasn't good, but I would appreciate if this is what we're gonna go. If this is what we're gonna go into next, after, you know, all the arcs that happened after Alabasta. If Ace was this integral to what, again, the biggest arc, the biggest arc up to this point of the series, I would have wished, you know, a little more setup on who he is. Not his backstory, but just spend more time with him, bro. I think if they did that, it would have made the choice of what they did with him a little more palatable. That's all I'm trying to say. It's just, I think, I can't get over the fact that it was with Ace where we got all of the most questionable choices in terms of character building, backstory, all of that stuff. It's just, why? You know? I think this is more, oh, what? What the hell? It's not loading up? I think you've already seen this before, though. This is, yeah, this is, actually, you know what? You haven't seen this before. Oh, no, wait. No, you did, because I was using Boa Hancock. This was when Boa Hancock encountered Sentomaru, and Sentomaru was understandably shocked by the fact that that Boa Hancock has essentially turned coat, and he's now fighting for the other side. And then when Sentomaru asked Boa Hancock, "Oh, why are you doing this?" And then all Boa Hancock has to say to him was that, "Let me tell you, love is always a hurricane," and it didn't make sense to him. So there you go. That's what that is. Dude, please play the thing. Oh my God, what is happening now? It's the game screwed up again. Yep, it is. It is. That's wonderful. Okay, I gotta go back. See what happened. I should have just streamed right now, bro. Okay, now we do it like this. We'll see what happens. I should have just streamed right now, bro. Because then I'd have, at least I would, it would make sense that it's an hour. Right? Let's see. Oh, that's wonderful. That is wonderful. Oh my God. Seriously? That's, alright, I gotta let me try 1080p. And then I change, how it is on the back right there. How it's being recorded. There you go. This is great. It's great. Okay. Take care of that. What is going on, bro? Is this working at least? Okay, that's working. See, now it's the other, oh crap. Shouldn't see that yet. Now it's the other stuff that's not working anymore. Okay, I gotta turn the thing off, don't I? I gotta restart the game. The thing I should do is that, well, if it's not this, I should probably you go. Okay. Sorry about this, guys. Maybe I'll edit this out. There you go. Maybe I'll edit it out. I don't know. I think this one might be a good idea to try out the premiere feature on YouTube. See what happens with that. Release it on I don't know actually. Would be a good idea. Maybe 5 o'clock. Okay, let's see if it actually works now. Hopefully it does. There you go.
どういうつもりだ。おめえ七部会じゃねえのか。海軍の邪魔しやがって政府側だろ。お前に一つ教えてやろう。あ？恋はいつでもハリケーンなのじゃ。
True.
なんだそりゃ。
True, true, true. Okay, crocodile no flamingo.
少しは構成して出てきたかと思えば。
This is a pretty good matchup right here.
殺されてえのか。
口の悪いやつだ。どうだ、俺と手を組まねえか。
手を組む。俺たちを同格に見んのはやめてもらおうか。手下にしてくれの間違いだろ。消えろ、フラミンゴ野郎。
クロコダイル、貴様。白ひげに救援あるお前は我らに都合よしと思っていた。
Yeah, yeah.
よもや貴様まで処刑の邪魔をするとは。
あんな瀕死のじじいや後で消すさ。その前にお前らの喜ぶ顔が見たくねえんだよ。
I think the reason why Crocodile is pissed was that he was removed from his place in the Seven Warriors of the Sea. Actually, you know what? I guess it was his place that was replaced by Blackbeard. So I guess during this time, Jinbei's spot has not been filled up. So there we are.
息子たちの明るい未来を見届けねえと、俺は死ぬわけにはいかね
え。未来が見たけりゃ今すぐ見せてやるぞ、白ひげ。やれ。やめろ。
There you go. I think we triggered this somewhere before.
おいおい、マジか。親父や赤髪と同じ覇王色の覇気。どうやら今のは無意識じゃのう。小僧。
今助けるぞ。
野郎ども。麦わらのルフィを全力で援護しろ。
Okay, I guess we have to talk about Conqueror's Haki now. Because this is the time this is when it was revealed that Luffy also has Conqueror's Haki because he's the MC, right? Conqueror's Haki is a type of Haki that's very rare. It's like having perfect pitch. It's like you're born with it. You're either born with it or you can train yourself. I mean, no, you don't, actually you can't. You can't train yourself with it. But again, Conqueror's Haki is special in the sense that not a lot of people have it. Right? It's the type of Haki that it's the special one, right? It's what it's an ability. It's a type of hockey that basically can make you overcome somebody's willpower, right? If their willpower is pretty weak, maybe you don't even need to use your Conqueror's Haki to do that, to do anything to them. But if they're weaker than yours, or if they're weaker than your Conqueror's Haki, then they can like overcome your willpower, and that stuns you essentially. Like takes away your spirit to fight, that sort of deal. So that's what Conqueror's Haki is. There's Armament Haki, and there's like Perception, Observation Haki. Like Observation Haki, if it wasn't really displayed during Skype, but that's what NL has. But back then they would call it Mantra, right? There's Observation Haki and there's Armament Haki. Armament Haki is when you see characters have like their skin essentially becomes violet or red, right? That's what's happening right there. They have good armament Haki, right? You can do it pretty well, and Haki is something. It's a skill, you know. You can do it pretty well, or you can do it pretty poorly. Again, it's a sort of ability that basically levels any ability that has been introduced in the story. Like I've said before. Okay, here we go.
バナタ、処刑台へまっすぐ走りなさい。
ああ。
悪いわね、稲妻。バナタの力が必要で。
So there you go. Inazume's. Okay, Inazume is the person that is responsible for doing this. So Inazume's ability, it's like by the way, Inazume has not been really shown in the game, but Inazume essentially hides within Ivankov's hair because Ivankov is so big that they can like fit inside that place. But his ability is essentially the snip fruit, I think. He has like scissors for hands, not fingers, so it's not Edward Scissorhands. His whole hands are like giant pairs of scissors, and what they do is they can cut really anything into like a strip, which is what this is. This is a strip of land. This is a strip of the earth right here that they have cut up and made it as a sort of bridge to go to the execution platform, which is this place. This, by the way, is the place where the admirals were seating. If you see that like that image where all three admirals were just sitting together in like a chair, this is where they were. They were basically like the last line of defense from the execution platform. Like if anybody gets that far into the platform, they will be the ones that were like, no, you cannot go there. So that was the idea behind that. Anyway.
Kani-chan, arigatou!
Okay. Dude, we've been doing this I've been talking for like an hour, man. I hope you're still in here. Here we go. So this is definitely something from like the first game, judging by how it looks. The amount of like pixels on it. 100's not enough.
どくわけにかかるフィ。わしゃ海軍本部中将じゃ。お前が生まれる遥か昔からわしは海賊たちと戦ってきた。ここを通りたくはわしを殺してでも通れ麦わらのルフィ。それがお前たちの選んだ道じゃ。
Cool situation right here.
できねえよ、じいちゃん。どいてくれ。
できねばエースは死ぬだけだ。嫌なことなどいくらでも起きる。わしゃ容赦せんぞ。ルフ
Oh
ィ、
my god.
お前を敵将になせ。
貴様も人の親だガープ。
But anyway, one of the things that people have said about Garp, again, this compounds on how stupid. We're gonna talk. I guess we can talk about. I guess we're gonna talk about that later. But yeah. Yeah. Okay.
待て、私が逃がすと思うな。戦国。私の手で処刑するのみ。
ゴムゴムのギガント風船。
処刑台が崩れる。
落ちるぞ。
撃て、処刑台ごと吹き飛ばせ。
By the way, that little thing right there, the reason why, because I never got the second special attack that Luffy has when he's like before the time skip. That's gear third. But that's what happens when he does gear third. Is that when he turns part of his body really big, the offset of that is that for a period of time he becomes really small. Luffy becomes really small. This is something that he was able to avoid happening through training with somebody later on. Guess we shouldn't like mention yet. But yeah, that's what happens. That's why Luffy looks like that right there. Pretty cool scene right there, I have to say.
お前は昔からそうさ、ルフィ。俺の言うこともろくに聞かねえで無茶ばっかりしやがって。戦えるか、ルフィ。
もちろんだ。
Is it too much to ask for more of that moment? Is it too much? I guess it was. Anyway, one of the things that people have been saying about Garp, it's kind of been memed about, was that Garp has pulled in more favors to Kobe, which is Luffy's friend that he basically took under his wing. Garp did. When Kobe entered the Marines, he ended up on the division that I think Garp oversees. So it happens so that he was basically training. Kobe was basically training under Garp, and that they kind of like formed a bond there, and came to a point that they're basically inseparable. I guess that the point is that Kobe got in trouble, I think, and that the first whiff of that, Garp sprang into action. Meanwhile, which is a stark difference to how he behaved during Ace's execution right here. He was like basically not doing anything, letting all of this happen, which is crazy. It's crazy. Like which is like, yeah, why aren't we doing anything? There you go. Ace is free.
今から伝えるのは最後の戦長命令だ。よーく聞け、白ひげ海賊団。
Right.
最後ってちょっと待てよ親父。演技でもねえ。そんなもん聞きたくねえよ。一緒に
新世界へ帰るんだろ。
親父。
Yeah.
おめえらと俺はここで別れる。全員必ず生きて無事新世界へ帰還しろ。
Look at his neck, bro.
時代の残党だ。新時代に俺の乗り込む
Such a cool line, bro.
行け野郎ども。
Look at his neck, bro.
ずいぶん長く旅をした。けりをつけようぜ海軍。
So he's gone with the Jinbei route as well. That they've decided that's where they're gonna die. Pretty admirable, right? Okay. I guess again, this is something that we've seen before too as well. I think.
分かってる。無駄にはしね
一つ聞かせろエース。俺が親父でよかったか。
え。もちろんだ。
ぐららららららららら。
All right, we're nearing closer to Oh yeah, no, we're not close. We're there, bro. This stupid thing.
エースを解放して即退散とはとんだ小汁気の集まりじゃの。白ひげ海賊団。船長が船長。それも仕方ねえか。白ひげは所詮千の時代の敗北者じゃけ。
The fact that they're defensive about it.
敗北者。取り消せよ今の言葉。
The fact that he's like so defensive about it, Ace, by the way, is I don't know what that tells. Cause like I guess if that they're defensive about it, I guess there's some truth to it. They're like we're touching upon things that we barely have any idea, but we have no idea how competitive the Yonko are. Right? Again, basing from what we know up to this point. Like, why is it so important for Ace that Whitebeard is not a loser? Like, I don't know. I'm trying to rationalize a stupid thing right here. I'm sorry, guys.
王になれずじまいの永遠の敗北者が白ひげじゃ。どこに間違いがある。ゴロつきどもに慕われて家族まがいの茶番劇で海にのさばり。
やめろ。
しまいにゃ口車に乗った息子という名のバカに刺され、それらを守るために死ぬ。実に謙虚な人生じゃありゃせんか。
やめろ。親父は俺たちに行き場所をくれたんだ。お前に親父の偉大さの何がわかるわ。
Like, I would understand if Ace just said something back, right? Because what he said was too much. But to like freaking stop escaping, go back. Like I can't. I mean, you know, I made the case for Usopp by saying that, well, he can't really be reasoned at this moment because emotions were running high. But dude, my God, my God. My God, I don't know. Like, at least think about that maybe this is not what your boy wanted. When I mean my boy, your boy, I mean like your father, your foster father would have wanted. 'Cause So that did not went well. Let's see how bad it went.
白ひげは敗北者として死ぬ。小宮山の大将にゃあつらえ向きじゃろうが。
白ひげはこの時代を作った大海賊だ。この時代の名が白ひげだ。
ロギアじゃ言うて油断しとりゃせんか。お前はただの火。わしは火を焼き尽くすマグマじゃ。
You know what would have cemented this idea that that the four emperors were so territorial, like so on site with each other, like the aggro is super strong amongst them, is if in the very beginning of the Four Emperors saga, when we got to New World, essentially, when we like leave Fishman Island up to the surface, or up to the surface, the first thing that we see is like a commander of like somebody that's from Big Mom's side and somebody from like Kaido's side, or even like Shank's side. Like if we see Lucky Roo that early on in the story, that would have been so cool. Like Beckham, somebody like that. Maybe even Yasop, that would have been so cool. Basically encountering a person from another of the Yonko faction, and they see how bad it is, like how territorial it is, and how on site it is. That might have supported, kind of like retroactively done some given some right to how Ace behaved during this during the situation.
海賊王ゴールドロジャー、革命家ドラゴン、この二人の息子たちが義兄弟とは恐れ入ったわい。貴様らの血筋はすでに大罪だ。誰を取り逃そうか、貴様ら兄弟だけは絶対に逃がさん。よう見ちょれ。
And the other thing too is like if the ships were coming in, they were coming in Marineford, that and they looked like they had seen better days. They weren't well maintained, so you could see that, oh, okay, these guys are kind of suffering. Like they're not just on the top, but I think they're on their way out. Like they're not doing well, you know. If that's how like the Moby Dick breached into that ocean, into that water right there. But no, it looked in tip-top shape, as it did in the anime, as it did probably in the manga, because I didn't read this thing in the manga. Like, not only that, like the Moby Dick and the other Moby and the other like ships that are also Moby Dick, they're like just numbered and they're smaller than the one that Whitebeard is on. They all look great. You know, anything that would have sell this idea that would have like helped why Ace was so desperate, or not so desperate, so protective of Whitebeard's name. You know, that's me being a westernized, having like, I guess, a Western point of view about it. Because I think this sort of mindset that you have to protect somebody's name, you know, probably still true in Japan. I don't know. It's upsetting, bro. Why are we here? Ace, what are we doing? Like, Ace, seriously, my god.
おい待てルイ
Here we go. So, had the same thing happen to him. What happened to his paternal father, not paternal father, but foster father. Because he got punched by a Kainu as well. Yeah, again, you're not gonna see that hole there, but it's there, man. So cool. There you go. Super cool. Charmer fruit is super cool. Blackbeard's got good taste, man. What do I mean by that? What do I mean by that? Oh, we'll find out. You guys are gonna find out. Here we go. Bro, why are we here?
ルフィエース急いで手当て
ちゃんと助けてもらえなくてよすまなかった
何言ってんだバカなこと言うな誰か手当てしてくれエースを助けてくれ
無駄だ自分の命の終わりくらいわかるもう持たねえだから聞けよルフィ
何言ってんだエース死ぬのか約束したじゃねえかよお前絶対死なねえって言ったじゃねえかよ
No, he promised that he would live a full life, bro. At least he wants to live a full life.
弟がいなきゃ俺は生きようとも思わなかった
I still don't understand that, bro. I still don't understand. Somebody should really... I don't know. I don't get that.
一つあるお前の夢の果てを見れねえことだだけどお前なら必ずやれる俺の弟だ昔誓い合った通り俺の人生には悔いはない
嘘だ嘘つけ
嘘じゃねえ俺が本当に欲しかったものはどうやら名声なんかじゃなかったんだ俺は生まれてきてもよかったのか欲しかったのはその答えだったもう覚えも出ねえルフィ俺がこれから言う言葉をお前後からみんなに伝えてくれ親父みんなそしてルフィ今日までこんなどうしようもねえ俺を鬼の血を引くこの俺を愛してくれてありがとう
I have to say, seeing your brother like die in your arms That's crazy, I have to say. That is pretty crazy. It's still a stupid death, though. Such a stupid death. Okay. Okay, the reason why this is a stupid death, the reason why I'm so prissy about this is that in if you look at it in the big picture, like, and if you're somebody who has watched this thing throughout since the very beginning, since like episode 1, right, you got to hear there's a lot riding on Ace's death. Now, we didn't know it was gonna be on Ace's death because this One Piece, this series does not like to kill its characters. You know, some side characters would be in a situation, not even like the main characters, some side characters would be in a situation wherein, oh, they would totally die. Like a good example would be Pell from the Alabasta story, Alabasta arc. It's this retainer that, I guess retainer would be a good way, or you know, a guardian or retainer, whatever, whichever. A guardian of the royal family in Alabarna or Alabasta. Like someone that Vivi knows pretty well. He had this instance where, if you remember, like when we went to Alabasta, when we did that in the store, in the game, they had this thing where there's like a ticking time bomb that Crocodile has hidden somewhere in the city, right? And as it turned out, it was actually, you know, the bomb itself is a ticking time bomb. It's not just, oh, we have to stop the cannon that would fire this bomb, right? As soon as they found that out, they had to like figure out, okay, how are we gonna get rid of this? And one of them suggested, I think it was Pell that suggested it, okay, let me fly it out far from the capital, right? He can do it because like he can fly. And so obviously there were like some apprehensions about this, obviously, like spell, and you know, it's mainly from Vivi, I think. But the point is that Pell is not a main character, right? He's not in the Straw Hat crew. He never made it there. He's like the only thing we know about him is, like, again, he's like a guardian from the Alabasta family. And he's not gonna do this noble and honorable thing of protecting the capital because it's his duty, bro, right? So he does the thing, and he was able to get the thing far enough from the city that when it exploded, it did not affect the capital. Which is hooray for us, but you just know that guy died. No way do they survive that. And then you know, Alabasta ended. Alabasta ends, right? We did that scene with the X's on our arms, right? They were sailing off, and then the one final thing that they show was this guy walking on the horizon, his figure slowly creeping over, slowly coming out of the suns of the horizon. We see more and more about this guy, and it turns out it's Pell. He survives that huge explosion from this bomb. He survives that. So that's how I look at this thing. That's how I look at Ace's death, and this is this. So when I say that there's a lot riding on Ace's death, it's because, okay, if this is gonna be our first major death in the series, a death that isn't from like a parental figure of some main character's backstory, or you know, a figure in like a person's formative, a figure in a main character's like formative years, right? Because like in Zoro's case, it was his lady friend Quina, and Brook's case, it was his crew. But essentially, like, if we're gonna experience a death that happens in the story as it happens, you know, it's not a flashback, it's not a backstory. It has to be good. It has to be done well. It has to be. Because every other time that we've avoided this, it made no sense. Alright? We've kind of just shrugged it off, swept it under the rug, that sort of deal. Right? So that we're committing onto a death, it has to make sense. But it didn't. It really didn't. And by the way, like, Ace died before Whitebeard over here. So this is the first major death in the series. So this is why I'm so pissed off about the handling of Ace. From beginning to end, it felt so haphazard. Like, this is the point of his character, was to die. A guy that looks this cool, he was just supposed to die. I don't know if I feel good about that, bro. I really don't. I really don't, man. So that's my main gripe about it. Again, were it not for this, would the arc, would the story, would the Marineford saga have been good? It's hard to say. I mean, I understand if we had to rescue Ace and Ace gets to live, that would have been so much better. Because it did not make sense for him to die here. If Whitebeard died, that would have been one thing. Like, him dying, I get that. I honestly get that. But Ace dying, this guy that, again, as I said before, we only know so much, we only get to know about him after he dies. Like, who does that, bro? Like, I mean, I'm someone who dabbles on writing stuff, right? I'm someone who dabbles on, you know, writing stories here and there. I would never do that, bro. And if I do, I would be like, I'm so sorry, guys. That was on me. I shouldn't have done that. Because I know that's wrong. Like, what? How? How could you give character the worst fate a person could have? The worst fate that someone could have, and then tell them about themselves after the fact. And this isn't like an entire arc in and of itself. This is like a side story, just so you know what you have to cry about. Essentially, is what it's implied here. Oh, this guy died. Here's why you should care about it. That's how it came about, bro. And I guess for a lot of people, I mean, it doesn't matter. Because for a lot of them, this is the first time they're seeing Ace, you know? Again, the Marineford saga was this big thing. I think it's the biggest story up to this point. I've said that, and I mean that. Again, it brought a whole lot of people, a whole lot of eyes on One Piece, myself included. And I think what happened was, people didn't when people like started watching One Piece because of this, they didn't really look back on what happened before. So they wouldn't have this, they didn't experience it the way a lot of people did. A lot of like old fans especially did. Wherein we saw this character once before on like an arc, many arcs ago, in like 2004, I think, if I'm right about that. That's the last time we saw this guy. He was so cool back then. And this is the next time. The next time we see him, he's like incarcerated, on his way to being executed. Jesus Christ. And not only did that happen, he was actually executed. They were like successful in going about it. You know? And again, the reason why, again, like when we saw this guy, we had no idea who he is outside of the fact that he was Luffy's older brother. We don't even know if they were good or not. He seemed likable enough, but we don't know what he's been doing with the Whitebeard pirates. We don't even know if what the Whitebeard pirates are like cool guys. You know what I mean? There's so many things up in the air when it came to Ace when we first met him. That, you know, normally people wouldn't question this. I mean, I guess like normal people won't really like, is this what he was doing? Is that what he was doing? But it was just, I guess that's where my mind is at right now, where we know so little about him. For the show, for the story to demand this kind of emotion to us, they didn't earn this moment with Ace. That's what I'm trying to say. They didn't earn this. If they want us to cry about this, they didn't earn it. No. And again, the fact that what we know about him happened after. It's because again, it's like that whole stuff where he was like, was it good that I was born? That type of stuff. That's Robin's stuff. Okay, what are we doing here, bro? Like his whole thing has just been either unplanned or a rehash of an idea. They did my boy so dirty, bro. It's so dirty. It's like a canal here, bro. Putrid black, my dude. Sewage. Okay. I gotta calm down. It's like it's late at night, man. I hope I'm audible. I hope I'm conveying my my emotions pretty well. A lot better than what this story was wanted. Never mind. Ace's story is bad, bro. My boy deserved better. He really deserved better. He deserves better. So, yeah. And again, the one thing that this does is like it supports the idea that the story is in favor of Luffy. And that's not something I can abide, my dude. If you want something like that, go watch Naruto. Like, I swear. I've seen somebody like in the comments in the in one of the streams that I did that One Piece is about Luffy's journey. No, bro. It's not. The show is not called Luffy's Bizarre Adventure. It's not, bro. It's not. Right? It's not. It's not. Yeah. There's so many instances before this happened where they're kind of telling us, again, they're still expanding the horizons before the Marineford stuff happened. For me to say that, oh, they could, this story could really go anywhere, you know, even without Luffy. Or maybe with Luffy, but it's just it shouldn't. Oh man, god damn it. I just don't like the idea that Ace's death, like Ace is basically just a plot device to like have our boy, to have Luffy have a what do you call this, a development in the story, a much needed development in the story, because Luffy is portrayed as this, because the thing that I've learned in English class is that characters are two things. They're either flat or round characters. A flat character is somebody that stays true to themselves throughout the story. A round character is somebody that changes somewhere in the story. And Luffy is the kind of character that was for a lot of the story, for a lot of what the story was. He was somebody that did not really change. He was not gonna compromise on who he is as a person, and that's fine. That makes sense. I have no problems with that. But now, with Ace's death, there seems to be an incentive for him to change. I guess the defense that I can think about for this is that prior to this, the Straw Hats were experiencing defeat after defeat after defeat. Like in Thriller Bark, they got defeated. Somebody pointed this out. I get that. Before Water 7, when they encountered Aokiji, they got defeated there, and that's like a taste of what's gonna come in Marineford right here. They got defeated. Like everybody just couldn't do anything. They were either incapacitated or just stunned, couldn't do anything. NA's lobby, they barely got out of there alive. Right? I mean, Zoro kind of got... He was alright. I mean, Zoro and Sanji were like pretty okay. Yeah, the majority of the people were actually pretty okay coming out of NA's lobby. Chopper went through it. And Luffy did as well. But... yeah. They're about to lose there, but they didn't. By a hair's slit, I suppose I should say. But yeah, and then in Thriller Bark, the arc after that, they lose to Kuma by just one attack, right? So this incentive of Luffy being stronger, I guess, is not the weirdest thing. But I just don't like the idea that Luffy, that we are in Luffy's perspective for an ungodly amount of time. I don't know. I guess I had a different interpretation when like I saw that. I have a different interpretation like when I saw that the story was going into other parts of the world. Like when they were setting other stories up alongside Luffy's story, I thought that was the indication there that we're not gonna stay with Luffy for the entire journey, my dude. Right? Certain things can happen where Luffy is not really the main focus of, because it's not Luffy's Bizarre Adventure, it's One Piece, my dude. You know what I mean? God damn it. Listen, alright, this is the last thing I'm gonna say about this. Because after this, you know, I have nothing but praise about this after this part. So one thing I'm gonna say about this. I am well aware that One Piece, the idea, is not something I own. I know that. I get that. So if the idea, in this case One Piece, starts turning into something I don't like, well then I am left with two options. Either I accept it, like how most people do, like what most people have done, or I go away. I just leave, right? But I refuse to accept it, and I refuse to go away because it's One Piece, my dude. This is, you know, this is such an integral part of how I consume media. Like literally. Like so many things that I got out of the experience of watching One Piece, I apply. I mean, for a certain for a brief period there was certain things that I was looking for when I after I watched One Piece. Like how did they do world building? What do the characters how do the characters like interact with each other? How well is the character how well is are the characters set up? You know, what is their dynamic with each other? Stuff like that, bro. All of that came from One Piece. So it's like, you know, it's hard to go away. But maybe it is time. I don't know. They said Egghead was good, man. I'm willing to believe them. But apparently the anime is about to end. Cause like they're ending the production of the Toei animation, which is an end of an era. Like I thought it wasn't actually going to go away. I thought that it was just gonna coincide with the Studio Wit stuff. Like I thought I thought like they were gonna at least wait for the thing to catch up. Like you were still gonna do the animation while the Studio Wit was like pumping out these stuff, like updating, getting because like there's a lot for them to like go through before they get to where the story is. They probably get there for like I don't know, honestly. There's a lot to go through. So yeah, I guess I wouldn't be watching the thing sometime soon, bro. It's gonna be a while. At any rate, so that's where I am with this story. You know, I really shouldn't. No. It's fine actually. I was about to say probably shouldn't have told all of that stuff. We still have one more stream, technically one more stream to do. If all goes well, it's just gonna be one stream. You know what I'm gonna do? The next time I stream this, it's probably gonna be in 720p. Because so much of the story, so much of the cutscenes are in 720p, so that might be something that we will do, ladies and gentlemen. So get ready for that. Anyway, let's move on. Here you go.
何者じゃ麦わら屋とはいずれは敵だが悪縁もええ、こんなところで死なれてもつまらない
Hippocratic oath, my dude.
そいつをここから逃がす一旦俺に預けろ俺は医者だ
俺はトラファルガーローですノースブルーのルーキー先日シャボンディ諸島天竜人の一件にて取り逃がした麦わらのルフィと共犯の海賊救援に来た模様
急げ早くこっちへすまんルフィ君に深手を負わせてしもうたすぐに手当て頼んだぞそれでいい任せておけ
Man, I should have just streamed this. I don't care if nobody came through this stream. It's just, you know. Anyway. Yeah. I know I said we should move on, but again, if they handled Ace's story well enough, if I mean, I wouldn't even say like change what happened. Like Ace still dies, right? If it was just if we got more of the character before he died. I know you're not make it so obvious, obviously, but if we just knew about the character more before we got to Marineford, then I would have accepted it. And we would be sitting here discussing the best storyline in all of in the entire series. Well, a lot better than Wano, because Wano wanted to be Marineford so bad, bro. It wanted to be Marineford so bad, like so bad, dude. But I mean, in my eyes, it couldn't be Marineford. It didn't have the quotable lines, my dude. It did not. It so did not. I mean, you know what? I might need a refresher on that, but I know. From what I know, I didn't have all that lines. Everybody still quotes this arc, a lot more than Wano. Still had more amazing moments than Wano did. This arc. So yeah. Anyway, we should get to this one. We should try to finish this thing actually. I've been going on for long enough.
おめえじゃねえんだ。ロジャーが待ってる男はまだ生きてんのかよ。ロジャーの意志を継ぐ者たちがいるように、いずれエースの意志を継ぐ者も現れる。血縁を立てど、あいつらの炎が消えることはねえ。そしていつの日か、全てを背負って世界に挑む者が現れる。興味はねえが、あの宝を見つけた時、世界はひっくり返るのさ。誰かが見つけ出す。その日は必ず来る。ワンピースは実在する。
Can we get much higher?
さらばだ、息子たち。
Cool as hell, bro.
死んでやがる。たったまんま。
That's right.
白ひげ海賊団船長、大海賊エドワード・ニューゲート、通称白ひげ。 マリンフォード頂上決戦にて死亡。
By the way, at this point, again, they couldn't really like do this all that well in 3D, so I can like forgive them for that. But at this point, Homeboy was like so wrecked. One side of his like mustache right there, that was ruined. Scars up the wazoo in like just in his body, like scars here, scars there, like the punch that Akainu had still in there was not patched up, nothing. Like dude was like just still going through it. Dude was just still wrecking everybody with all that scars and like everything that was just going on in his body was just there. And the reason, I mean, they never touched it on the game in this scene in particular, but the reason why his cape there fell off was to show off the fact that he died standing. Whitebeard died standing with all of his scars on his on the front of his body, nowhere in the back, which I think for Japanese people is the sign of a brave warrior. Kind of like the same reason why when Zoro and Mihawk fought, Mihawk was about to give Zoro the mortal wound that he would bear until still today. Like Zoro still has that wound. It never like fully healed. He said you don't like he turns to Mihawk and says a good swordsman doesn't have scars on their back. Because I think the idea is that when you have scars on your back, that means you ran away, right? I guess that's the idea there. And Whitebeard doesn't have any scars in his back. Great, which is a crazy idea to think about. And then Homeboy went to work. What does he actually do? Does he like go under his on his mouth when he does this? Alright, see what your homeboy did. Look at this. Cool effect right there. Look at that. That's pretty neat. Oh. Crazy reveal. Crazy reveal.
親父の能力全てを無に返す闇の引力全てを破壊する自信の力俺こそが最強だこの世界の未来は決まったそうここから先は俺の時代だ
Does seem that way though, right? It's crazy. Oh, here we go. Another good moment right here.
誰も俺を止められねえ全てを壊し飲み込んでやる海賊という悪を許すな
置いてきなよ麦わらのルフィをさ
ここまでだもうやめましょうよこれ以上戦うのやめましょうよ
Good shit,
命がもったい
秒無駄にした。正しくもない海兵は海軍にはいらん。
言ったんだ。言いたいこと悔いはない。
よくやった若い海兵。
That's right.
お前が命を懸けて生み出した勇気ある数秒は良くか悪くかこの世界の運命を大きく変えた。
That's right.
なんでここに4校が赤髪のシャンクスだ。
この戦争を終わらせに来た。
That's right.
そいつをルフィに
麦わら。
お前にあげたい宝の地図があるんだ。
本当かおい。待ってろ、届ける。
まだ暴れ足りねえ奴がいるのなら来い。俺たちが相手をしてやる。どうだティーチ。いや黒ひげ。
Cool.
やめとこう。まだ時期が早い。
全員この場は俺の顔を立ててもらおう。戦争は終わりだ。
So cool. So cool. Alright, it's moments like that that kind of bring it back. Oh, okay. Yeah, this is game. Story's pretty good. Ace Dying still sucks though. Like again, Wano wanted to be this good. All of the iconic lines were not there. It was in here. Yeah. And again, I guess I never actually talked about why. I guess we'll talk about it after this. It's the last one.
麦わらのルフィが生きていた。
Oh yeah, actually I should contextualize that first. So after this, right, Luffy got taken to Law's ship, which is a submarine, which is pretty cool. So while he was there, he was being treated by Law, and I don't know how it happened, but he was basically sent. I think Jinbei was the one that tipped him off and saying, you know what, we should probably give you in either, I think it was either he went back to Sabaody or it was directly to Amazon Lily, but you know, he settled in Amazon Lily, right? And while this was happening, I think when Shanks did this, right, one of the reasons why this scene is so Shanks' interference was pretty cool. Somebody mentioned this, is that it wasn't that the reason how Shanks ended the war wasn't because the Marines respected him, right? They know about Shanks, of course. They know he's a pretty formidable opponent, but it wasn't out of respect. It was the fact that, okay, well, there's somebody that wasn't originally part of the fight that's getting into the fight now. Like, it made them realize that, hey, okay, this is turning into something else. This war is turning into something else. It became like a wake up call for really for every party, like the Blackbeard part, and obviously the Marine part. They were kind of like, okay, Okay, we get it. So that's where it ended, which is so, so cool. So, like, that's like the bargaining chip that that Shanks has to the Marines. That okay, if you want to fight, I can fight. We can like keep the fight going, or do you that doesn't just let him end the war. It also opened up for Shanks to open some negotiations to the Marines themselves, because Shanks actually wants to bury Whitebeard and Ace in a respectable way, right? He doesn't want he wants to settle that stuff in a bit more of a respectable way. He wants to give them like a nice place to have their graves are, where their graves are, and stuff like that. I forgot what the other things that what other terms Shanks gave to the Marines before he said, "Okay, I should probably take my leave now." Super cool, super cool. Like it's moments like this where he actually lives up to the hype. That, oh my god, that's so cool. Anyway, so that's where it leaves us. Luffy's recuperating after what happened here. He's doing a much needed recuperation. I don't know how much time has passed since the war ended. I think it was about a week. Right? There you go.
また海軍本部に乗り込んだんだって。
一体何が目的でこんなことを。
Mm-hmm.
そうか。わかったぞ。
了解。
そうか、ルフィ。
Oh, I know what's missing now. Would have been nice to have that actually. There you go. Mm-hmm. So if you saw there, yeah, I think what these two missing cutscenes are is Luffy's talk with Jinbei about, because I think after Luffy woke up from he was basically, I think, in a coma, right? Understandably so, like homeboy went through a lot. But after he woke up, he was inconsolable, right? I think he cried for 2 whole days, probably 3, just crying about Ace, right? Homeboy died in his arms, so that's understandable. So he was destroying things inside the island, people where it's where there's nobody living though, right? He was just wrecking huge rocks up, he was destroying trees, stuff like that, you know. So eventually Jinmei had to step in, right? Okay, do you want to be like this forever? But it's Luffy again is beside himself and saying that, dude, I let my brother die because I was so weak. This is one of the things that they kind of made in reference when they kind of reflect where Luffy is now. It's this moment. I probably should have it right here, but I don't know how to get it. That's what these are, I think. So he's I'm so weak. I need to be stronger. Like, I mean, it's not only that, it was just he doesn't even want to be a pirate. He doesn't even want to be pirate king anymore because to his mind, if I can't even protect my own brother, then how good of a pirate king am I? I think Jinbei, when he said that, I think Jinbei punches him and saying, "Don't say that. So don't say things like that. Like, don't say that you can't really protect anybody. Like, your brother's dead. That's true, but think hard on yourself. Who do you still have left?" And then he said, I still have my crew." And then he lists all of his crew members, like Nami, Zoro, Sanji, Usopp, Chopper, Robin, Brooke, Frankie, like all of them. I want to meet them when I blah 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 blah. Like, I still have my crewmates. Is his whole deal. So now, he's got like his thing, his ambition back to like be a good captain, a good like pirate, a good captain for his crew. But so yeah, so with that revelation, he had to think about a way to like talk to them because of the crazy things that have happened, right? So 3D2Y is in reference to the idea that when they got to Sabaody, they had this agreement that they did, wherein we'll explore Sabaody on our own, like separated for 3 days, and after that we come back here and we start our journey going down to the new world. That's what 3D is right there. And 2Y and 3D is like crossed out on his message right here. And 2Y is then like put right there. So yeah. So 2Y is in reference to now 2 years. So they don't meet after 3 days. So that's what they were talking about there. They don't meet after 3 days when they're done when they're in Sabaody Archipelago. They meet after 2 years, so they can like get all of them can get stronger, which is a pretty it's a neat idea. It's a neat idea, right? And that's it, my dude. That's Marineford right there. It's this legendary arc that it felt like again, this is the arc that I see people reference over and over again when they think about One Piece. Like, even the Japanese people reference this as the arc, as the One Piece arc, because it had all the right moments. It represents the series, I think, in the best way possible, because it had the Marines, it had the pirates, it had all the stuff that's going for it. Everything but Ace's death was great, you know. I really wish that was handled a lot better, man. I really do. I still think that, you know, because here's a bit of a spoiler for anybody that cares about it, for anybody that's still watching at this point on the thing. But Ace gets referenced back into the story. He doesn't come back, he gets referenced back. So we kind of get him back again. Kind of get him back again. I think for a lot of people, they I don't know. It's not so much the fact that they got over how terrible this story, how they handled Ace was. It was just the fact that, oh, we missed Ace. It's unfortunate that he died, but you know, it's nice that we got them back for this one instance, you know. I don't know. I was not intending to go for 2 hours to recap the entire Marineford saga, but such is what is required when you have to talk about One Piece. Nothing is short when it comes to like One Piece. It's either the time you spend watching it or the time you spend talking about it, I think. If you actually like it, you know. If you don't, obviously you just say it sucks and then you move on. But yeah. I don't know if people are like over the fact that I've been talking about this thing for well over a week now, honestly. I've been on this thing for like a week now, bro. Non-stop talking about One Piece. But hey, as I've said it before, man, if I don't do it here, I never do it. It's just how it is. Like, nobody's interested, man. Like, I don't think I can really like transform my fascination about this story in any other way. I don't know. I mean, in my perspective, the story didn't get better because what happened after this was that the story for the majority of it was basically trying to catch this lightning in a bottle sort of deal. Because that didn't really happen in Fishman Island. That didn't really happen in Punk Hazard. Definitely did not happen in Punk Hazard. But in Dressrosa and in the arcs afterwards, I think I mentioned this already. What happened in Dressrosa, in Whole Cake, and in Wano, those giant arcs, they were definitely emulating this arc right here in terms of like scale, the amount of characters that are on it, the amount of fights that are on it, right? So with that in mind, I think, you know, this is the biggest arc, the most monumental arc. It's a landmark arc. I don't know if that makes sense, but it is. Yeah. So, I think I've made this video long enough, right? I'm gonna post this, set a premiere to it, which is it's gonna be a weird idea, but we're gonna do it. Hopefully, people will be received well. I don't know. Hopefully it'll be received well, but if it doesn't, you know, it's also fine. Again, this is just me, like, saying what I want to say about this story that I love. Okay? So, I mean, until next time, guys. I'm sorry I talked for like 2 hours. It's just what happens, bro. It's like 3:45 where I live. When I'm doing this, it's 3:45 in the morning. While I'm doing this, I slept the entire day. Probably shouldn't say that. That's what I did. Anyway, see you next time, guys.